Welcome to another weekly reading vlog. It is currently Sunday morning and I desperately need a matcha and some form of breakfast because my stomach feels so empty right now. So let's make a matcha, let's get something to eat, and then let's chat about this week's reading plans. The matcha's so good today. It's so good. It is such a beautiful Sunday. It is now much later, but I've just been doing other things, filming for other videos, but running a couple errands as well. But I have my windows cracked open. It is quite a warm day, but because I'm not getting direct sunlight yet, it just feels like nice to have fresh air in here, and then I'll have to shut them here in a little bit once it gets a bit warmer. But I wanted to go through some books on my radar this week because you're getting glimpses of other videos, I'm sure, but I'm not going to be doing like heavy updates, reading updates for those videos over here, but you're going to see them. I'm starting my Throne of Glass reread today. Scary. Scary. But there are other books on my radar. So I wanted to pull up Libby because I wanted to see which audiobooks I have corresponding to my physical TBR and kind of which ones I'm wanting to read. Because I'm starting this all-encompassing Sarah J. Maas reread right now, I'm thinking I would like some lighter books or just generally smaller books, ones that aren't going to be taking a lot of time to read while I'm going to be rereading these larger books on the side. So I think first up is Wild Goose Chase. Having some literal silly goose little romance I think is going to be absolutely perfect to start with. So I think I am going to start this later on today. But I am nothing without my literary fiction. So I'm also thinking The Names by Florence Knapp could be a really good addition later in the week. But I just have no idea because I am a mood reader. Because I'm reading these other fantasy books, I'm not sure if I'm going to want to read other like fantasy for this just like weekly vlog. I'm already doing the whole Sarah J. Maas stuff. So I feel like cutie little rom-com and then more of like a literary fiction could be a great addition to the other books that I'll be reading. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I also have, just from like my August TBR, I have Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice. I'm not really sure I should get into that. And then I have Pride and Prejudice. But like that's a whole journey. I want to make sure I am like set to read that. I also have Dune, but that is quite a large book. It says the audiobook's 21 hours, so I just don't know if that's really the right move right now. And then as far as just like an audiobook I also have checked out is Heat of the Everflame, which I know I don't want to read this week because that is a 35-hour audiobook, so that is very much like a thick book and fantasy, and I think I want to push that into later August because we have the fourth and final book of the saga coming out in September. So I think I just want to read that closer to the end of the month, but not too much time between that book ending and the next book coming out, but also want a little bit of time. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I do have Between Tides and Thunder as an audiobook, and then the ebook is on Kindle Unlimited. That is a new release by Lena Kazak? Not sure, but it's been on my radar for the last few months. When I saw that it was coming out at this moment, I don't remember what it's about, but I remember being interested at one point, so I have the audiobook. But I'm thinking for this week, I should focus on these, and then I'm also having the first two books, my opinion of the first two books, and Throne of Glass, Assassin's Blade, and book 1, Throne of Glass. So, do with that information what you will. But I am excited. I haven't like kicked off that vlog yet, like introed it and everything, because I haven't started reading, but I have introed the other vlog and I've done stuff for that, and I've tidied up. I've gone grocery shopping. I have played with Milo. I've taken trash out. Like I feel like I've had a pretty good productive morning, and my breakfast was so good. I feel like it was a great balance. Like The toast was so good, but like a sweet addition. So there's like a cinnamon sugar toast with cottage cheese and a in-season peach. Are you kidding? I love it here. I'm gonna get back to doing some work stuff on my laptop for like my actual job, and then I will check in with you guys later. I'm not sure if it'll be when I start this book or if we'll get up to anything else. I plan to have a chill day at home working. I feel like there's always new people in each vlog, so for those that don't know, I have the most flexible job ever. It is like a standard like 9 to 5, 40-hour week job, but it's kind of hybrid. I can work from home if I need to. I can work in office if I need to. Right now, I'm kind of structured where I am helping cover stuff on the weekends, and then I only work 3 days of like your standard work week days. So that's why I'm working on like a Saturday and Sunday, but even that, there's a lot of flexibility with it. So that's why I'm just here working on my laptop, but I can really do it at a coffee shop. I can do it from my couch. I could go in the office if I wanted to on the weekend, but don't really want to do that. That sounds horrific. But I will check in with you guys later. I have a reading update for you guys because I am 86% of the way through Wild Goose Chase and I really want to finish it this morning. I read a good portion of this yesterday after work and I was like, girl, you've got to stop so that you can update the vlog in the morning and then we can finish it together. I'm just having such a fun time with this. It's like right book, right time, silly, goofy, great book to keep you company sort of story. I'm probably going to give it like 4 to 4.5 stars unless something crazy stupid happens in the last 14%, but I just really like that this story is just like a fun adventure and a cute romance. These two antique dealers tracking down this goose is so absurd and funny because it just keeps getting passed on to different people. It's such a funny thing to just like read about. Like, what do you mean this is what I'm reading? I love it. I am really hungry though, so I need to make myself some breakfast. I have my lemon water here, so I'm thinking maybe I focus on that, but I really want a strawberry matcha. So we'll see. Maybe I'll make it. To be determined, but I did want to update you. Now I'll get some breakfast situation, and then we're gonna sit down and finish this book. Okay, I have my breakfast, which is really more like an appetizer of a breakfast because I just have a large bowl of fruit, which is 1 peach, 1 golden kiwi, and a handful of strawberries, and then some tangerine juice and lemon water. Normally I would have some like hard-boiled eggs or cottage cheese with it, but for some reason the idea of that makes me nauseous right now, so I'm just gonna eat this, and then I'll probably have something with more like protein in an hour or so. But in the meantime, I really want to finish this book, so I'm on chapter 32, which is 277 pages into it. So we only have this small chunk left. Let's see how the story ends. What an adorable story. Quite literally antique dealers on a wild goose chase. I had so much fun. You also get this additional like timeline storyline from 1908 primarily, and you're kind of figuring out, you can guess pretty early on like how this is going to be connected and related, but it's just such a fun additional element to the story being told, and it's quite short. I think what, it's like 300-ish pages, a little over 300. I really like it. I think this is a good recommendation if you kind of just want a silly little rom-com that is so out of pocket but so much fun and like a quick read. You could read this any time of the year really. So Wild Goose Chase, should definitely add it to your TBR. I've just spent the last hour-ish, hour and a half, not entirely sure, reading The Assassin's Blade and continuing on with that reread journey. I don't want to emotionally talk about it because I just had to talk about it in that vlog. Can't go through that again. But I wanted to give a brief haul before we head to the library and the library's like bookstore, because I have one book to return and then a handful to donate. I'm also going to bring them all of these aardvark bookmarks to just hand out. I do have this one, but I think I'm going to keep it even though it's an extra. I think this is just easy if people want them. But the book I'm returning is To the Moon and Back. I didn't get a chance to actually read it. Very upset, but I'm just not in the mood for it right now, so it's on my radar. I definitely want to read it in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and donate Wild Goose Chase. Love it, but I just don't need to keep it on my shelf. It wasn't something I planned to reread or like absolutely obsessed over kind of thing. I'm gonna donate Magic and Mischief at the Wayside Hotel. Really enjoyed this. I just know I'm not gonna reread it. Then I have The Unicorn Hunters, ended up DNFing that one, so yikes. Then I have Trope Sick. This ended up being a sort of disappointment by the end, so I was hoping I would love this and want it on my shelves, but that's just not the case. Then I have Elizabeth of East Hampton. Enjoyed it, just don't need to keep it on my shelf. And same with this last one, 5. It's a thriller-esque, like I'm not going to reread it. I had a really good time with it, highly recommend it. I really liked the audiobook, but I'm not going to reread it, and it's not something like I recommend wholeheartedly, especially from a physical copy. Like there's a couple friends that I have that I would definitely just give any of my mystery thrillers, but I suggest this in audio form, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and donate it. So those are all the books that I'll be returning and donating. We're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to look in the bookstore. I'm not going to go into the actual library side because I can't afford to be checking out any books right now. I have a TBR stacked. I have the entire Throne of Glass that I'm rereading practically in the month of August. So I'm set. I'm set and I need to not check out a book. So I'm gonna look because I wasn't supposed to check this one out either, and I did because I made eye contact with it. So let's go ahead and put on not slippers, grab my purse, and head out.
I got no enemies, I just do what I please. Yes, sir. I ain't got no things, no money, no means, just a wind in the wings. Yes, sir. I got my feet on a cloud and I won't come down.
Good morning. I'm about to make some breakfast. I desperately want a strawberry matcha and then maybe hard-boiled eggs, some fruit, something along those lines. That's what I'm feeling this morning. I don't really have a strong reading update for you guys because I'm actually not that far into the names. I started it at the beach, read a little bit more at the pool. Both cases, not a lot of reading done because the beach meant Milo. Puppy beach reading, not quite there yet. And then when I went to the pool, it was just so hot. I was like existing there for a second and then ended up on a FaceTime call with my mom. So by the time I was done with that call, too hot. So I didn't really get that far into it. So when I'm further in, I'll give you a good reading update. But I want to make some breakfast and then I have a haul for you guys because yesterday I checked the mail and my August aardvark box came. So I want to go through the books that I got. So let me make some breakfast, make my matcha, then let's chat. Strawberry matcha just hits year-round, but especially in summer. Let's go through my Aardvark August picks. Now, this is not sponsored by them, but I am an affiliate, so you can get your first book for $4 and free shipping. So worth checking out, and then if you don't like it, totally can cancel. I like it because they do give you a card of what like that month's picks were, along with bookmarks. I usually keep maybe one, and then when I do kind of my monthly unhaul, I go ahead and like give those to the library or like the library's bookstore. I really am loving Aardvark's thrillers and mysteries specifically right now. So first up, I got The Wrong Daughter by Dandy Smith. The evening Caitlin and Olivia's parents leave them to go to a dinner party. Both girls are bubbling with excitement. At ages 10 and 13, they are at least old enough to stay home alone. After all, in their idyllic town, no one even bothers to lock their doors. As the summer nights fade after TV and popcorn, the sisters finally put themselves to bed. They're unaware of the figure watching them through the open window, or of the back door opening once they've fallen asleep. When their parents return, they find Olivia's bed empty. Their golden-haired, long-limbed eldest daughter is gone and never to return until now. But is the woman who claims to be Olivia all she seems? Is everything Caitlin said she saw the night the whole truth? Their family has dreamed of this moment, but both sisters are keeping more than one secret. What price will they pay if they end up believing the wrong daughter? It sounds so good. Then I got The Woman in White by Sarah Pekkanen. I think that's how you say it. The front of that just looks so trippy the longer you stare at it. In 1964, four remarkable young women at a prestigious university became the subjects of parapsychology experiments by a visionary scientist. On the cusp of a historic breakthrough, the women mysteriously vanished and the program was erased from history. Decades later, Riley Bell, newly divorced and desperate for a fresh start, accepts a caretaker job for an elderly widow named Betty. Riley steps into a home that is frozen in another era. No microwave, television, or cell phones, and Betty has never heard of the internet. Why has Betty lived in such profound isolation for so many years, and why does she need Riley now? As the story unfolds across two timelines, Betty's glittering 1960s era of 5 o'clock martinis and high-stakes experiments, and Riley's quest to uncover the truth about the missing women, old secrets rise to the surface, and the only way to survive is to confront the mystery that has lingered for 60 years. Say less. Say less. This would be such a good movie. And the last book I picked up is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I believe it's like a Holmes and Watson style type of book. In D'Artagnan's grandest mansion, an imperial officer lies dead, killed, to all appearances, when a tree erupted from his body. I'm sorry, what? So it's a death both terrifying and impossible. Assigned to investigate it is Anna Delabra? Sure. A detective whose reputation for brilliance is matched only by her eccentricities. Rumor has it that she always wears a blindfold and can solve impossible cases without stepping outside the walls of her home. At her side is her new assistant, Dinios Cole? Sure. No clue, guys. Magically altered in ways that make him the perfect aid to Anna's brilliance. Din is at turns scandalized, perplexed, and infuriated by his new superior, but as the two close in on the mastermind and Anna makes one startling deduction after the next, he realizes that she is indeed the Empire's greatest detective, and wonders how long he can keep his own secrets safe from her piercing intellect. Are you kidding? What? That is so pretty. I feel like these just all sound so good. Clearly, I love their mysteries, but I feel like they're like thrillers, mysteries, suspense, all of that is absolutely incredible. I feel like I haven't had one that like I just haven't liked, but I do love that they, to me, offer more of like unique choices and authors you haven't heard from, books you haven't heard of, compared to like a book of the month. I think book of the month is for the people that really want the books that everyone is talking about and are incredibly popular, and you just want to be able to get them at a cheaper price for a hardcover book, while these offer more variety into the unknown, and I really appreciate that. So what a great haul. I'm so excited. I need to see if the audiobooks for any of these are out yet, because I love a good thriller on audio, but I do love to hybrid read them. I also feel like The Tainted Cup could be such a good audiobook. know why is this going to be the hardest read ever. I've already experienced so much emotional damage reading the first 45 pages. I read the prologue and then the first 3 chapters that's effectively setting up the rest of the timelines that we are going to be alternating through the rest of this story. Wow, I can't remember if we talked about the synopsis yet in this, so hopefully this isn't repetitive, but we are, at least at this stage, we are following Cora. She is the main female character, the mother that is essentially deciding the name of her son, and her husband is a abusive, verbally, physically man who wants the son to be named after him. It is like a generational thing. And so one of the timelines is her naming him after him. The other 2 are other names. In the prologue, you see the conversations that she's having with her daughter, Maya. I can't recall how old Maya is, but she's like young, like she's definitely a kid, but still old enough to be aware of her surroundings, but just like emotionally like intelligent, whole conversation kind of thing. And so you're seeing how that conversation with her daughter at the beginning kind of leads her down these different paths. So the first 3 chapters is her naming those 3 names and how kind of like day 1 everything goes with like her telling her husband how he reacts, and everything that's going to come from that is what is now in these later chapters. So I think the stories can be structured in such a way that we're following like a large time span. So first 3 chapters is kind of like your day 1, if you will, and then we are now heading into 7 years later, where I believe we're going to get 3 more chapters of kind of where the characters are at, time jump, another update kind of thing. And so I just don't know if we are going to always be in Cora's kind of POV, or we are going to be at some point into the son's POV, but definitely check trigger warnings on this. I don't know everything that this is going to dive into, but we're definitely already seeing domestic violence like on page, and it has been very tough. So also know that if it's not something that's necessarily triggering, you never want to read about, but just understand the heaviness of this book and be in the right like headspace going into it, because wow, incredibly well written to where like I am feeling such emotional connection and like pull towards Cora and the daughter and the son, and emotions about the dad as well because he's terrible. But it's just so sad knowing how like real this concept is, and obviously like domestic violence is real, and just thinking about so many women that are in these positions that they can't get out of, it just hurts, especially when like a man appears to be like just a nice caring husband on the outside. Stupid. It's so stupid. I am probably going to keep reading, but I wanted to give you kind of initial thoughts now that I'd completed all 3 of those chapters and kind of got a glimpse into how each of the stories started and what the names are. And we'll go from there, I guess. Okay, I have a reading update for you guys because I am now 60% of the way into this. I am 187 pages in, and I am at the point an additional 7 years later in 2015. So we've had a couple time jumps since, especially considering we started this in 1987. It is so incredibly fascinating getting just how different things can go from one decision. But at the same time, it's like a series of decisions, because it's crazy how one thing can kind of make or break someone. It can either, like empower them or make them crumble. And especially thinking about a mother in a difficult position with her spouse, with kids, someone who is well known, well liked, well connected, like, you know what I mean? But you do get Cora, the mom's POV. This is all third person, but like you get Cora's POV, the sons, the sisters. You don't get the dads, thank God. But you get to see where each of them are at and how this plays out with each of the names, and it's just so heartbreaking at times, empowering in others. It's just a hard read. Like, it just is, because it's not like the prologue wasn't actually too bad. That's kind of like setting you up into her going down these 3 paths of which name to write down. But those first 3 chapters specifically, very difficult. Very difficult from like an on page side of things. And I think that was the last like real verbal update that I gave to you guys. But then we have all the chapters after, where it can just be hard thinking about what Cora may like endure because of a name choice, and more like the emotional side, the internal side, the depression, mental health, like more of that. And then also like the son, you do get to see a path that he could go down based on different circumstances. And it's just like all of it just kind of just is hard for different characters at different points. It's just like, wow. Wow. I feel like if you read this book, I would love to like chat more about it in a spoiler fashion. Like, I'm trying to tell you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling without blatant spoilers, but Milo got groomed today. You smell so good, bud. Okay, so I think we get 2 more time jumps. We're in 2015 now. I think we're going to get into 2022, and then maybe we'll have an epilogue. So let's see how this all wraps up.
I left the hall light on in case you come back home. I sent a text that I was wrong. Oh, won't you come back home? Why won't you come back home? I've been sleeping with the light on dim.
Dare I say 5 stars? Like, dare I say, I loved this book. Like, I'm smiling because upon finishing it, it just is such a spectacular story and premise, and is so raw and real. Like, there are so many singular decisions that lead you down such different paths. And I think especially seeing it being from the mother who already has 2 kids. Like, at this stage in my life, like, it's just me and Milo, right? Like, I don't have kids that in action I make now. Like, I immediately see the effects of that, so to speak. So thinking about it from that perspective of how Cora just making last minute decisions on what she's putting on her son's birth like registration, and how that changes her life, the son's life, the daughter's, the dad's, but also people around her, like certain friends, her own like family, like her mother. Like, you just see how everyone's life changes and everyone is connected. So I mean, it is true that while I don't have kids in this given moment, like certain things that I do now could easily affect my mom, my brothers. Like, it's insane. Obviously, Milo, like, what if he was growing up on a farm? What if he grew up with cows? What if he wasn't growing up in California? But, like, also, I could pick up and move us, and all of a sudden, he is living the rest of his life on a farm, and it'd be so different than if he grew up going to the beaches and hanging out with friends here. Like, thinking of all the people that you have yet to meet in your life is what's also so crazy. Like, leading down different paths, like leading you to meet different people, both good and bad. Like, this book is just so thought-provoking. I'm obsessed with it. I'm so obsessed with it. What a change in books. What did we even read first? Because this reading blog and definitely... Oh, didn't we read Wild Goose Chase? I feel like if this is your first video of mine, you're like, okay, diversity. But that is truly how I read. I love a good silly little romance. I love my fantasy. But I also love a very thought-provoking general fiction story. If you take anything from this, I hope it is to pick up this book. I really enjoyed the audiobook alongside it, so if it's something that your like library only has this or the audio, like you could do it either way. Wow. Okay. What a way to end the video. What a journey that was. But I'm so glad I read it. I'm so glad I read it. I'm so glad that I held out and I got the book for $6 at a used bookstore, and it was incredible. This is staying on my shelf. At the end of every month, I typically go through all the books that I read, and I like donate the ones that like maybe I enjoyed but I just don't feel the need to keep on my shelf. Like Wild Goose Chase was donated because I loved it. Great time. But I don't need to keep it on my shelf. Not gonna reread it. I could actually see myself rereading this, but also it's just such a spectacular story that I definitely want to keep it. I'd love to maybe like annotate it. Not crazy, but just even like underlying different points, quotes, moments, and just seeing how that affects everything. Okay, I am gonna go finish editing this video now that I finished the book, but wow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.